Hi, I'm Eric Rogers, co-founder of Vertical River, and welcome to the debut episode of Into the Current. Into the Current is based on the concept of seeing what's coming and adjusting to it as it approaches. We're big fans of community, recreation, environmental conservation, and innovative business solutions. We'll explore a little bit of all of this with Into the Current and focus on the people, organizations, and brands that are leveraging creativity and technology to improve their businesses and, most importantly, their audience's experience. Our first guest on Into the Current is Marshall Thomas, aka DJ Mars. Mars came to Atlanta from his hometown, Springfield, Massachusetts in 1991 to attend Clark Atlanta University. His DJ roots and love for hip-hop go all the way back to 1981, where he heard a local rap crew called the Homeboys on a cassette tape. Mars turned his love of hip-hop into a paying gig at Clark Atlanta, earning $75 a week spinning records in the school's cafeteria. Mars has always looked into the current for new opportunities and ways to evolve his business and craft. In the 90s, he seized the opportunity to be Outkast's original tour DJ. He parlayed that into tour gigs with other hip-hop and R&B stars like Usher, Monica, Neo, Sierra, and Carrie Hilson. Mars published a documentary-style book, Art Behind the Tape, in 2014, chronicling the origins and rise of mixtapes that fueled the power and popularity of hip-hop music and DJ culture. Anybody that grew up in the 80s knows the power of the cassette tape, and Mars is one of the people that knows it the best. He's continued to evolve, and these days you can catch Mars rocking Facebook Live and Instagram Live sets daily from his house right here in Atlanta. Thanks a lot for joining us. All right, so hey everyone, welcome to Vertical River's Into the Current interview series. This is our very first one, so forgive us if we have some technical hitches, but we're going to do better, I promise. Really excited to have our friend and just superstar DJ Mars with us here live in Atlanta. We're about, I think, 10 or 15 miles apart because of social distancing. It's an interesting time right now. Yeah, that's right. Stay together, but stay apart. Yep. Into the Current, it's all about talking about adapting and innovating and growing your business, even in hard times like what we're going through today with the COVID-19 pandemic. So we got Mars here. A lot's been going on. He's on the forefront of all the DJ really technological innovations that are going on. So we're going to talk to Mars about that a little bit. And really let's just start there, because I mean, right now everybody's talking about DJs, and DJs are really, I mean, y'all are really helping a lot of people feel better on a daily basis, just in their heart and in their soul. From what you're doing here locally, DJs all over the world, D-Nice's Club Quarantine. What pushed you to jump in and try to help people through your art and talent?
I think it was, I don't remember the exact day, right? So it was whatever the day was that I kind of realized that we aren't going anywhere in Atlanta. It may have been Friday the 20th or the 19th of March or something like that. It kind of settled in, like, we're going to be here for a minute, right? So once I realized that, a friend of mine hit me, he was like, yo, you should go on live and spin live. So I agreed to do it, set up my rig properly, or as proper as I could at the moment. I set it up, and then I started to play. And I didn't know that there was going to be a human aspect to it. I was just DJing just to be DJing, as if I was in a club. And then I just noticed the other DJs were doing the same thing. DJs in Atlanta, DJs across the country. So I was just doing it because I was like, we're not going anywhere. Then that Saturday, the 21st, was actually my birthday. So I felt kind of bummed because I had a birthday party scheduled and we couldn't do it, obviously, because we're stuck in the crib. So that was my inspiration, was just, yo, I'm in the house. Let me just play for some people.
Right. Hey, happy belated birthday too, by the way, man. We didn't get to celebrate like we talked about. And get out on the bikes a little bit and see the town. Yeah. What kind of, and I know everybody's been talking about it from all the major news networks. I know Michelle Obama got in on D Nice's Club Quarantine. So there's been a lot of people talking about it. And what's been the response that you've received to you spinning daily?
Oh, I mean, people love it, man. I mean, so let's backtrack to D Nice. What D Nice did was he opened up the door for the United States to look at DJs differently. You know what I mean? So I have my audience. DJ so-and-so has his audience, but D Nice just brought the national spotlight to what we do on a regular basis. So all we can do is say thank you to that, because not to say that we were going underlooked, because we weren't, but him bringing the national spotlight just made the light brighter for us. So I just want to thank him for doing that. I forgot what the actual question was. I'm sorry.
Oh, just what kind of response have you gotten personally spinning daily from your crib in Atlanta?
Oh man, I mean, it's incredible. So my audience is my college classmates, the people who I went to school with, the sneaker community that I relate to across the globe, the touring audience that I'm in front of, across the globe. So it's been nothing but love. Like I love being able to play, and then while I'm in my house, I can touch someone from Australia. I could touch someone from Japan. I could touch someone from South Africa. Then I'm at the same time I'm playing for somebody literally across the street. Like my neighbors on my street, they tune into me. So it's super dope to me. Super dope.
What is the who or what has been the most surprising comment or person that checked into one of your live sessions?
Man, I would say the most surprising is supermodel Naomi Campbell.
Oh,
like
nice.
Yeah, when she checked in, I was like, yeah, buddy.
Nice. Very nice. Very
Crazy.
nice. Now, and you and I have talked about this a little bit off camera, just personally, and talking about business like we do. But this is a lot different from playing in front of people, which is your normal profession, right? And feeding off the crowd. How is it different when you started, and then kind of now, and you've been doing it for almost, I guess, about four weeks, right?
Yeah.
About 4 weeks. What's the feeling like, and how have you been kind of vibing off of people online virtually?
Well, so because when every DJ has a personality when they're playing, right? And so my personality, whether I'm on stage or in a club, is to bring a whole bunch of energy to my set. It's audio energy, it's visual energy. So I had to say to myself, okay, dude, even though you're in your bedroom, you got clothes behind you, bikes on the floor, the people watching you expect a certain type of thing. So you have to give them that thing. So that thing, I still have to translate to them. Like they still have to feel like they're watching Mars in a club or Mars on tour. So I have to give them exactly what they know of me. And it's crazy because normally I'm around people. I can look at someone, a smile grow on their face when I play a certain record, right? I can look at a girl get excited when a guy hollers at her and he's buying her a drink. None of those attributes are around me. So in my mind, it's like I have to play virtual reality with myself in order to get you excited. Because if I'm in my room just playing like in my room, it'll translate in a negative way across the airwaves, because you'll feel it like, okay, this dude he's bored. He's just doing this just to be doing it. He doesn't sound excited. So I have to, in my mind, act like I'm physically in that warm, hot, sweaty club going off. So I have to take myself there first before I can take you guys there.
Right on. So, everybody's talking about social media, right? So you and we're about the same age. We're kind of mid-40s type of guys. And
Yep.
we've been around for a while. We've seen all the technology come, from when there was no technology. And both of us use social media for business. And we also use it for our personal lives, whether it be, organizing bike rides or catching up with friends or sharing any type of recommendations on shows or anything else. How significant has social media been to you as a DJ, both before this and now after this COVID-19 pandemic? how were you using it before and how are you using it now to keep being a DJ?
Super essential. I mean, because I don't have a publicist, right? So anything, any messaging that I want to get out there, I have to do it on my own. I have to tell people, okay, I'm going to be on the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. I'm going to be in Chicago, LA, Detroit, Miami. I have to do it. So I built my audience based around the need to let these people who pay attention to me know what I'm doing. So it's really the same thing before and the same thing now. So the difference is now my thought process is these people expect a certain thing from me. They expect to hear me in a club on these days. I have to use, my live stream sets basically to talk to the people the same way I was doing it before. I have to do it now because they expect me. That's what they expect from DJ Mars because they've known that from DJ Mars for X amount of time. So I have to continue to give it to them. So the end goal is just pushing my message forward. Before my message was I'm playing in these cities on these days. Now my message is just clear. I'm playing and I'm playing for you guys.
Cool. What's your primary social media channel and how are you leveraging that? Are you using one more than another? Are you
Now
using them in combination?
I use a combination. So tech wise, I generally have and I'm looking over here to my right, my turntables are set up right here. So I generally have my cell phone, which is always on Instagram, over here to my far right, in front of my right speaker. My iPad, which records Facebook, I have that directly in front of me. So some people who follow me and pay attention to my movements only follow me on Facebook, and that seems to be my older audience, the audience that I grew up with back home in my hometown, Springfield, Massachusetts. And Instagram seems to be the celebrity side of my audience, the people who just know me as a DJ. So I play for both audiences because they both know me differently yet equally. So again, my cell phone connects one, my iPad connects the other.
Okay, cool. What social media channel do you want to understand or even feel like you need to understand better to leverage it that you're not right now? Are you thinking about that at all?
Yeah, so about a week ago, I just started to pay attention to Twitch. So I know a lot of DJs are using Twitch. I set up an account. I just haven't mastered the usage of it yet. So my goal is this week to figure it out totally and use a third device so I can stream on Twitch, IG, and Facebook. But that's the one that I have the least knowledge about is Twitch.
Gosh, that's a huge, huge channel. Ton of people
Yeah,
on Twitch. I know that came
yeah,
up really big with the video game
yep,
crowd about 6 or 7 years ago.
yep,
So, and really, and with this interview series, Into the Current, it's a new series that we're doing, we want to explore how business people, which we definitely know that you're a businessman, uh, adapt to change and hone their skills, right? That's what this conversation is all about. And you and I talked about recently this concept of iron sharpening iron, and in hard times, that being an opportunity for growth, right? It's not
yep.
just, oh, this is terrible. Let's see how we can get better. How specifically has this pandemic helped you sharpen your sword?
Well, it said a couple things. I said to myself, um, you got to figure out other ways to market your skill, right? So part of what I'm doing now, I'm doing virtual parties for a couple corporate entities. I did one for Starter, the athletic brand, right? And before my thing was you perform somewhere and you invite the brand managers to come see you. Now you're performing in your house and you have to invite the brand managers to your set. Before it was I'm doing a really cool party and I know some of these people were going to be at the party anyway, so I don't have to actively go out and invite them. But now I have to find and basically solicit my services to these brand managers because I need them to be paying attention to me so that I can do business with them. So I did the starter when I have 3 or 4 more locked down for the next week or so. But now I actually have to go out and grab them because I can't. Before it was they would be at a concert that I was at. They would be at a party that I was at. So I didn't have to physically go get them. I would win their interest because by osmosis they were at an event that I was doing. Now I have to say to them, okay, I'm spending from 2 to 4 for such and such brand. Come check me out. So it just made me get on my P's and Q's a little better.
And you mentioned starter too. So again, like people of our age that were kids in the 80s and early
Mm-hmm.
90s, starter was a big time brand, right? I mean, it was right there with
Yeah.
Nike, Reebok,
Yep.
Adidas, even Fila back then.
Yep.
We all had starter jackets. I had my favorite Chicago Bears starter jacket. I'm sure you had. I don't know if you had the Patriots or what coming up, or Celtics up there in Mass,
Yep.
where you're from in Springfield. But that's a cool opportunity for like a retro brand, right? Like a classic brand to
Mm.
do something very, very present on social media today. Did you
Yep.
talk to them about that at all? Was that part of the motivation for them to get with you and start doing these virtual parties?
Yeah. Well, so starter is not relaunching because they've already launched. But starter is reliving that 80s nostalgia, like you just said. I've done stuff with them in the past, so I had a relationship with them already. And like you said, back in the 80s, that's what I was wearing. So when I talked to Carl Banks from Starter and we talked about what this whole thing was going to be, I say, Carl, since we're stuck in the house, I want to take people back to the 80s. So my playlist was tailored specifically for that. I said, I want to play the records that I was listening to when I was wearing the starter jackets back when I was in junior high and high school and whatnot. So sonically, everything was thought out and whatnot. The turnout was incredible. They have, I think, 250,000 followers on their page. We had people listening from as far east as Czechoslovakia, people from Australia, Africa, Tokyo, and whatnot. So not only did it help me out with their American base, it helped me out with their international base. It was incredible.
That's incredible, man. It's like doing international business from your home
Yeah,
on the
exactly.
internet. That's great. That's
Yeah.
incredible. I love it. I want to go back a little bit. So I know that you. We'll get to this in a minute too, but I know you wrote and published and produced this book,
Yep.
Art Behind the Tape, which any hip hop lover and mixtape lover got to check it out. Check out
Yep.
my man Mars's book right here. A lot of history in here, but going all the way back to 1981. You know, there's a I think it's your intro in the book. You're talking about you first heard the Homeboys on cassette tape. Do you
Mm-hmm.
and you put a little line in there? Do you remember that rhyme that you put in the book?
Yeah. So it was is a friend of mine, his cousin was a part of that crew, right? And he had this line, and it's funny. I only remember that line because I can't remember anything else. He said, "When I write rhymes, sucker MC study. MC name suicide, real name is Buddy." I don't know why that line, that stanza, stood out in my head, but so the Homeboys was just a neighborhood crew from around the way. They weren't even from my neighborhood per se. It's just one of the kids in the crew. His cousin lived 3 or 4 houses down from me and whatnot. So that's how we were hearing tapes. So they would make their neighborhood rap tape or whatever. It would get to the cousin. The cousin would make a copy. I would get a copy, and then the whole neighborhood had it. So it was just no one knew that was going to mean anything, but that was just what was going on in our neighborhood at the time.
That was like the original social media right there, wasn't it?
Yeah, Park Jam tape. That's exactly what it was.
That's right. So how did that moment from a business standpoint, and I love that memory, man. I love that part of that memory that you shared in the book and right now, but how did that moment chart the course for you to make DJing your profession and your career? Like,
So, so that moment was symbolized by a few different things, right? Where I grew up, we had you had the best graffiti writer in the city lived 1 block away from me. One of the first guys that I personally ever known ever have known to be a DJ, he lived a few houses away from me. So I would go to his house, and this is all in that same moment, meaning that same time capsule. I would go to his house and I'd watch him cut records, right? At the top of the hill where I would catch my bus, the house that was right at the top of the hill, one of the best DJs I ever seen in my life at that time, he used to in the morning wake up and he'd be DJing in the morning with his window wide open, and he was playing Billy Squier's Big Beat. Now I believe Big Beat by Billy Squier came out in like 1980, if I'm not mistaken, 80, 81. So this record essentially was new. He's cutting it up back and forth. Now I would hear this every day while sitting at the bus waiting for the school bus. So that's how I kind of grew up. That's the energy that I grew up in. So again, when we're talking about a moment, that moment is these different pieces and points in time that were all smashed together.
And was that something when you first heard that, like some people's, like the first time I ever touched a ball, a football, a basketball, a baseball, I knew I wanted to be a pro athlete, or the first time I heard classical music, I wanted to pick up an instrument and play? Or was it that kind of moment for you, or was it just that you were just growing up in that environment and you evolved into being a DJ from just being in it?
I think the latter part of what you said, I think I was enamored by it, but I didn't know that's what I wanted to be, because I didn't know what it was in terms of profession. It was just the cool thing that these guys in my neighborhood were doing at the time. I didn't know until second year in college, which was 92-ish. I didn't even know that DJs could actually make a living off of this. DJs outside of New York, right? So when I say that, I'm saying DJs outside of New York, the Jazzy Jeffs, in the Jam Master Jays. I thought those guys were special because although Jeff is from Philly, I thought, okay, he's connected because he grew up with the Fresh Prince. Jam Master Jay, he's on because he lives across the street from Run DMC. That's how I viewed it. So I didn't know that the opportunity was available for other people. I thought it was just exclusive to them because I had no idea.
Sure. Let's bring it back to the future. I guess really the present. You have all these people vibing these live stream DJ performances right now.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those people, or maybe even a lot of those people, don't even know what a cassette tape is or was, right? It's like when we were kids, we had boom boxes. We were recording stuff off the radio. Again, talk about original social media, right? Like I can remember being in junior high in my room with headphones on, listening to the radio, recording songs, like whatever your favorite DJ was, they played their show. So
Mm-hmm.
I used to listen to Bay Area radio stations growing up, and then we would trade tapes, right?
Yep.
So you'd be like, did you hear this? Were you listening to this last night? But when did you first really start to see technology starting to change the music industry? And when you did start to see that, what was your reaction to it? Did you immediately like jump on that and be like, hey, this is something I need to incorporate into my game? Or were you, like what was your take on it, and how did you react to
it? So initially, I remember the first change that I was against, and it was CDs. I remember when CDs came out, I was like, "Yo, what is this?" Like, I had no knowledge prior to it, but I was saying to myself, CDs are going to change the way music is listened to, the way music is sold. And ironically, I was against it. Don't ask me why. I had no leverage in the game. I was still a little kid. I had nothing going on globally. But I remember when CDs came out, I was like, this isn't good. Now, again, obviously it is good because with CDs, you can listen to music faster. You can listen to it better. It's more portable. But I remember being against it. But I can't tell you why. I just thought this isn't good. We went from the album, the physical album, the full-length album, to the cassette, to the CD. And I remember not liking it. I can't tell you why, which is strange. But I remember not liking that transition.
Yeah, I remember, man, CDs were like, again, like currency growing up, right? Like whoever had the new CD, again, same thing. Like you had to hear it. You get in somebody's car, jump in the car, just ride around and listen to CDs.
Mm,
You know, more on technology and how it affects business. So again, being Gen Xers, we grew up with a dial on the television, right? You had to get up,
yep.
change the TV, rotary phones. At my grandma and grandpa's house, you do the rotary phone, and then we grew up with the internet, right? So the internet happened when we were in like junior high, high school, and
Yep.
we learned with it. So you know how do you feel like, or do you feel like that your perspective on the evolution of technology, does that help you as a professional and as a DJ?
It definitely helps, man. So the program that most working DJs use is Serato, right? I remember when that program got introduced. So let's say it was 2002 or three. Let's say that was a year. Um, Prior to that, I was like every other DJ. This room used to be a record room where I stored all my records all over the place. You couldn't get in here with so many records, right? Um, I remember when Serato was introduced, I was nervous about it because I was like, okay, how am I going to transfer all of these records to these digital files? And then 2 points in time changed my mind. I was touring Europe and I was coming back, and I had my luggage, my clothes, and one piece of luggage. Then I had like 4 or 5 crates, and they charged me. It almost cost me $1,000 to get my records back into the country. So I was like, okay, well, there's got to be a better way than that. Then I was doing a birthday party for Usher's brother. Usher had hired me to DJ this party for his brother, and where I had to park my car and walk into the venue, it was probably 150 yards distance. You had to go up these stairs and turn right into the venue. And I remember it was super hot outside. I was dressed super fresh until I had to move my records. In moving my records up the stairs in the venue, I was drenching in sweat because it was 1,000 degrees in Atlanta. And I said, man, you know what? Let me go try Serato out. Like, because at that time, I was fighting technology, and I was saying, this doesn't make any sense. There's another option for me to use. Technology has moved on. You don't have to carry 10 crates of records every time you go out and play. Let me go follow that. And I'll never look back. Some DJs, and let me put this in there. Some DJs are record collectors. Some DJs are just DJs. I'm a DJ. I'm not necessarily a record collector. So I didn't need to have the original vinyl. I just needed to have the sound. So as long as I can get the sound, the song, I was cool with that. I didn't need to have the first copy of Run DMC's Raising Hell. Like that wasn't my thing. That's the thing for other DJs. That just wasn't me. So once I realized that for me personally, the sound was more important than actually having the physical record, I was comfortable with going from the old, you can call it old school now, the old school technology to where we're at now. So that was an easy transition for me.
Cool. What do you think the next technological advancement DJs will benefit from moving forward will be?
So I have a feeling, and it's kind of happening now. I have a feeling you're not going to need your laptop anymore to do what we're doing on Serato. It, some applications just allow you to have all your music on thumb drives, and I'm pointing this way. I'm sorry because my equipment is right here, so I'm looking at it as I'm talking to you. You'll be able to have your music stored on thumb drives, and you plug your thumb drive either into the now you could plug your thumb drive into the computer. I mean, into the CDJ, but I think they will have it so that you could plug your thumb drive into the turntable or directly into the mixer, so you won't even need your laptop. So that's just one less piece that you can just imagine. DJs walk into a club with their headphones and thumb drives, and that's it. I think that's where it's going.
Okay, that's cool. Do you incorporate any cloud-based solutions into your DJing and all your file storage? I imagine you have a ton of files.
Yeah, so I mean, everything is stored on. I have 3 separate hard drives. one that I keep in my safe, another one that I keep in the room, and another one that I carry with me. But I'm not necessarily using the cloud while I'm spinning.
Okay. Well, how many, do you know how many songs, how many tracks you got on those hard drives?
Man, I think about 30,000.
About 30,000. Okay.
Yeah. Now here's the funny thing, man. Because I have so much music, it baffles me when people want to hear the same records all the time. Because I'm like, yo, I have 30,000 records. Like, I can literally play for 5 years straight without playing the same song. But you guys want to hear the same song. It's crazy to me.
Okay. So I imagine you've heard a little bit about AI, right? Artificial intelligence.
Yep.
Do you ever think, and I mean, there's movies about it. I was watching one of the Terminator movies the other night. There's all sorts of like apocalyptic stuff, all the way to where it could be great for us. You got 5G coming on strong. There's always going to be new technology. Again, from when we were kids to today. I mean, there's stuff. Just this thing right here is incredible. I mean,
Incredible.
when we were 10 years old, you never ever thought about this could even exist.
No.
So with the I guess the emergence of AI, do you ever think that AI could kind of unseat DJs? Do you ever think it could be good enough to replace a live DJ?
No, because there's just certain things that a DJ can do that a computer will never be able to do, right? Again, the ability to look at the interaction between a male and a female and play a record that caters to that emotion at that second. Like, a computer will never be able to, and let me not say never because you never know, but a computer will never be able to recognize a group of girls sitting in a section. I don't care what race they are, what size they are, whatever. A computer will never be able to recognize those girls and say, one of those girls is having a birthday. Let me make her happy, because if she's happy, her crew is happy. So I'm going to play this record to make her happy right now because they're in here celebrating. A computer can't do that. Like, it can't do that. Now, if it gets to a point that it can, we're all in trouble, because that means the computer is controlling our lives on a whole different level. But until that happens, my man, no.
Well, good. Hopefully, we're good at least for the rest of our lives with that. Because
Yeah.
I don't want to see the computers get that good either.
No.
I want to go back real quick to again to the art of the tape.
Yep.
So you published this book in 2014.
Yep.
And it's it's almost like a documentary style book, right? It's chronicling the origins and the rise of mixtapes and hip hop DJs, and really brought us to where we're at today, and even to this interview, honestly. I imagine you learned a lot from putting that book together. Tell us a little bit about what you learned in the process. I imagine that took a long time leading up to that. And then, even 6 years, technology's advanced a lot. What would you do differently now? Like, would you approach that project differently, or would you do it the same?
What would I do differently? I think what would I do differently? So initially, when we put the book out, we utilized a print on demand service, and it left little to no profit. Little to no profit. I would eliminate that part of it, because we were selling a great deal of books, but we weren't making any money because they were printing on demand. So if you ordered a copy today, you would pay me, I would pay the company, and I would keep the balance. And it was little to no money left in my pocket. That would be the thing that I would change. I like the option of printing on demand, because we didn't have to come up with any money to do it, aside from getting the book initially done. But I would eliminate that. It was too much, ate into too much profit.
Cool. More along the lines of kind of learning and then paying it forward, right, to make yourself a better business person. What's something that you've learned just like in the last 6 weeks? I mean, I think, you and I were talking about a project that we've been talking about for a while before this really hit, right? Before the outbreak really hit us. And that was, I think, about 6 or 7 weeks ago. So in the last 6 or 7 weeks, I've learned some things, certainly, but share with me, if you will, what you've learned from a business standpoint and how you're going to be, conducting your business differently because of COVID-19.
I think the important thing that I've taken notice to is content is king, right? Um, if you look at what's going on Instagram and Facebook, all right, so let's look at the artist battles, the versus series, right? People are tuning in because it's content, right? Important content is important content, and the DJs playing live sets, that's important content. So I just said to myself, I need to create my own valuable content and figure out ways to monetize those pieces, because good content keeps people interested in your movement for a very long time.
Very good, man. We're big fans of that here at Vertical River for sure,
Yep.
and definitely look forward to making some more content with you here in the
Yep.
future. What more along the lines of like content and learning, really, like what are you reading as far as like what content are you consuming in this time? Because we got a lot of time on our hands. What are you watching, listening to?
Um, a lot of what I'm studying now, I literally just started this the other day, is pulling the analytics from your database. Like, I want to find out who likes Mars and what they like about Mars, so I can accentuate those attributes. Right. So, finding out when's the best time to do your live sets and how long you should do them, how long your audience is engaging. So I'm almost like my own case study in a sense, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, man. I mean, that's good. It's always good to understand your business at a very deep level,
Yeah.
and hopefully learn from that, and then create more content. It's something that we do a lot too,
Yep.
here, and work with people to help them really optimize and amplify their content.
Yep.
Going a little bit of a different direction. I know just from knowing you personally that you had a big you made a big change in your life from a health and a fitness standpoint,
Mm.
um, and hopefully that has helped. I think, from how I know you, just helped everything in your life, overall happiness, your success. How do you incorporate health and fitness into your life and into your business? And then how does that help you connect with your community more?
Well, so uh, just to give some context as to what you're talking about, so that people can understand, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, let's say 10 years ago. For about 7 of those 10 years, I didn't take it seriously. Wasn't exercising regularly, none of that. Then I got a real big health scare a couple years ago, and I was like, okay, well, maybe I need to take this seriously. So then I started to. Um, I joined the gym, found out, like most people, I'm not a gym person, right? But I needed to work out. So then a friend of mine, I was leaving a club that I play at, and I saw him on his bike, but it was him and like 20 other people. So I saw them that one time, and his name is Jay Reed, by the way. I saw him. Then a week or so later, I saw him and 20 more of his friends on a bike, and I was like, "Yo, like, so you take this bike thing seriously?" He's like, "Yeah, we ride heavy miles every week, multiple times per week." So then I said, "Okay." I went to look for a bike. I found a BMX, fell in love with it. Ironically, I took the Uber from my house to the bike shop, purchased the bike, and then tried to ride the bike home. Couldn't ride the bike home. I was totally out of breath. And I'm thinking to myself, man, why did I just spend $700 on this bike that I can't ride? That was July of 2019. Now I have my own bike club, ATO Bike Squad, and we ride almost 100 miles a week, right? So I noticed my audience, the DJ Mars audience, is naturally getting older, just like I am, right? So I noticed if I give them things that they could use to better their lives, they will be a part of the DJ Mars brand for a long time. But I didn't do it just so I can lock them in further into my audience. I did it because this is what I naturally do. Like, you can't fake riding a bike 100 miles a week for 8 months. Like, there's no way to fake that. So I did it, and I realized that they appreciated me more because I gave them jewels that, again, that they can use for their personal life and whatnot. So me helping me helps them. Um, they're inspired by my movements. I was inspired by somebody else's movements. And now as a community, we're making our lives better and healthier. No one had any idea that this COVID-19 was going to hit us, but those who are making it through this are those who are in better shape. So I guess without me knowing, putting myself in a position to be in shape so that I can fight this. I don't know if I caught it or not, but if I've been in contact with it, my body is now strong enough to fight it. So my friends inspired me, I inspired my community, and now we're all able to live a better life.
Yeah, we have an incredible cycling community here in Atlanta.
Yeah.
It's something that I've been a little bit of a part of for a while, and know you, and I know what you're doing with the ATL Bike Squad is incredible. Being out there in the streets, I got another friend of mine that you've been over to my friend as the shop, the Spindle in Atlanta, and we've hung out there a few times. So really love to see that. Also, I mean, it helps you be out in the community, helps more people learn about you, and I think that's good for small business too. We're talking about helping out small businesses. So thanks for doing that. You've opened up my eyes, and I love my favorite thing about BMX bikes from the 80s are the Skyway Toughs, man.
I'm looking at two bikes right now.
I know, man.
And I have a pair of Skyways over here that
I know. I've been following.
Yeah. So the cool thing is to see me post the bike on my page is one thing, but to see me riding it is another thing. And I think that people, because I see people on the belt line. Well, I don't see them as much now because we're stuck. But I would see people on the belt line, and they're like, "Yo, Mars," and then they would hit me on my social media and be like, "Yo, you really ride your bike?" I'm like, "Yeah, man. Like, I really ride my bike." And I live, let's say, 5 miles from the belt line, so I have to ride my bike to the belt line, ride through Midtown, and ride back. So that's how I accrue those 100 miles a week.
Nice, man. I know. I love being on the bike. And Atlanta's a good biking city, man. It's come up a lot
Yep.
in just about the last 5 or 6 years. I know that you're a single father and you got a son that's a college freshman. So
Yep.
I've got kids that are younger. I'm a dad too. I did want to ask you a couple of questions about your son, Jordan. And
Yep.
I wanted to ask, having a younger son and having technology be such a part of our kids' lives, and especially right now, how has that helped you understand and adapt to incorporating technology into your career? Has he had an influence on you being an early adopter of technology at all?
Yeah. So, okay. So typically guys our age, we used to get our music when we were at my son's age, we would get our music from the radio station, right? That's how we got our music. They don't listen to the radio at all. Like, and he's up on every new artist, every new song, every new title. He's totally up on it. So one day I said to him and his friends, "How do you guys get your music?" He was like, "YouTube or Pandora." I think, let's say YouTube was the first answer that he gave. And so I was like, "Really, YouTube?" He's like, "Yeah, like, how else do you like?" I think part of his answer was, "Why would I wait for a radio station to play my favorite song when I can go get it whenever I want it?" So it said, okay, so two things are happening. They are super independent when it comes to their choices, number one. And two, they're not buying anything, because why pay for a song when you can go to YouTube and play it for yourself right then? So it just said they are engaged with the artist. They're just not spending money on the song the way me and you had to. Me and you had to go buy the album. We had to
Right.
go buy the CD. They don't.
Right. Or sit there at the at your radio and wait for your DJ to play that song, right, and then record it on your boombox.
Yeah, they are their own DJ.
That's right. That's right. I like that. What and with Jordan being back at the home at the house with you during all this, are you teaching him any old school lessons? Anything to the youngster?
Nah, man. Like, honestly, I use him as my time machine. Like, like I find out what that age group likes musically, and then I incorporate it in my sets. He's 19, so he's not listening to the same thing that I'm listening to. Now I've given him some lessons, like, yo, you should know who the Jungle Brothers are. You should know who the Tribe Called Quest is. But when I need to, if I'm doing a young party and I need to be hip on what the young kids are, yo, dude, what do I need to play? And who should I be paying attention to?
You guys cooking up any business ideas while you've been spending all this time together?
I'm watching him and his friends kind of cultivate some ideas. So my son is a natural chef, right? He will fire up the grill and cook up some steak. He'll cook up some fish. He will get busy. So I'm seeing that as his passion. And I said to him, after you get done with whatever you're going to do career-wise, this could be something you could do in your retirement age. And I'm just listening to his friends, and they're having these conversations about cooking and what to cook and how to cook. So it's just cool sitting back and just watching his passions evolve on their own.
That's real cool. That's real cool. I like that a lot. And here's the question that's kind of related to that. You know, if you could look back and talk to your younger self, you know, it's cool that you have your son and you're able to talk to him about that kind of stuff, and kind of what you just said about, you know, telling him to go ahead and do whatever he's going to do from a career standpoint and then get after his passions. What advice would you give yourself, your younger self? You go back and talk to, you know, 1980s, early 90s Mars. What would you tell him? Business wise, business advice.
The things that I used to be afraid of, and I don't think those fears are not gone 100% now, but the things I used to be afraid of, don't be afraid of them. Just whatever it is, just do it. Just do it. I know that sounds cliche-ish. Sounds like a Nike campaign on some level, but just do it, because two things are going to happen. You're going to do it and it might work, or you're not going to do it and it's not going to work. So take your pick.
Right. Yeah. And if it doesn't work, like, it's not that bad, right? I mean, get on something else. Yeah, get on something else. Yeah, for sure. Well, exactly. I got a couple more, and I appreciate you spending this time with us today. Sincerely. Yep. What you know, what keeps you up at night, man? What's got, you know, when you're just rolling stuff around in your head, and when it's just you, or you're out on the bike even, you know, like, what are you thinking about? You know, beyond all the COVID stuff, you know, like, what are you really rolling around these days?
So I always have like a business plan or two, like, in my brain. And I'm thinking, how can I execute it? How can I execute it while I'm still doing the other stuff? Right. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, I have this bike movement. How can I take this to another level? Turn it into a retail location, turn it to a clothing brand. What am I going to do to move this past where it is? So I'm always looking at what I'm currently working on, but haven't solidified yet, and trying to figure out how I can make that happen for real later on.
Nice. Very good. Is there anything that we didn't ask you today, or that we didn't talk about, that you want to talk about? Anything that you feeling like you want to say?
You know what's funny? I've been doing a couple of these, and this was the most. I know you, so I know you were going to do your homework, but this is one of the most well thought out interviews, because all of them are general. You know, how long you've been DJing, what made you become a DJ? Like, they're not really introspective. It's almost like they looked at a couple of posts on my page and wrote some questions based on that. So I appreciate you for asking what I feel like is some real questions.
Oh man, thank you very much. I appreciate you for being a friend, being somebody here in Atlanta that I admire, for being an innovator, for being able to really just hopping on opportunities too, right? Because I mean, I think that's a big thing, and with what's going on right now, you know, we launched Vertical River just more than a year ago. Mm-hmm. We got off to a good start. You and I met shortly after we launched. We got introduced by a mutual friend, Rochelle. Yep. Thanks, Rochelle. Appreciate the introduction. Yep. If you're listening out there. And then, you know, we've been talking about a couple different things for a while, but we didn't, you know, nobody, like you said earlier, nobody knew COVID was coming to town. So
But COVID is here for a while too.
COVID's here. It's here for a minute. And so, Kendrick, my partner, who you know well, Kendrick Dish, co-founder and principal here at Vertical River. Kendrick and I jumped on it real quick. And, we just said, look, we're in it to win it, like you are. And so we said, we got to adapt and we got to figure out ways to get through this. And so part of that is by, just talking to and doing business with people like you and other people too, right? And, just keeping each other inspired. So we really appreciate you taking the time today. Finally, how can people that see this and they don't know all of what we know about you, how can they connect with you? How can they follow you and get up?
Oh man, I'm virtually easy to find. So on Instagram, you can find me at DJ Mars 404. That's DJ MARS 404. On Facebook, you can find me at Mars Hall. That's MARS HALL. So DJ Mars 404 on Instagram and Mars Hall on Facebook.
Excellent. Hey, Mars, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. You and Jordan, stay healthy, stay positive, man. Be safe, guys. And we'll talk again soon. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Bro. Peace.
Thanks for joining us for this first episode of Into the Current, and many, many thanks to DJ Mars. Thanks, Mars. We appreciate it. In our effort to stay current on trends and technologies in marketing and business, we talk to interesting people doing cool things. So if that's something you're into, please follow us on social media, especially YouTube and LinkedIn, to find out when we're releasing new episodes of Into the Current, and also for more information from both myself and my Vertical River co-founder, Kendrick Dish. If you like this, please share it. Stay tuned for more Into the Current.